So hello everyone and welcome to session number 7 of Health Connections Social Media and Advanced Internet Marketing course. There we go, Social Media and Advanced Internet Marketing course, training course session number 7. So today's topics are Twitter and blogs. I love that little bird up there, he's so cute. He helps us create conversations around the world, so to speak. So in sending our messages out to the world using both Twitter and blogs, it's kind of interesting because blogs are, versions of information that, put out your thoughts and put out facts and put out what you're thinking. And a Twitter account is actually called a blog. So it's a smaller version of a larger blog. So they kind of fit together in today's lesson. So Twitter and blogs will help you accomplish the following. They'll help you create new valuable content and keep your audience interested. They'll know that you're constantly out there working, telling them, giving them information. These will also ensure that you are a recognized authority in your field or specialty. They will help you improve your brand awareness and your reputation. They're a way to reach new audience members because not everyone who looks at blogs is also on Twitter, and not everyone who reads articles or reads your newsletter is on Twitter and blogs, things like that. So different audiences you can reach by going and using Twitter and blogs as well. They also help you communicate different messages to different target audiences based on the users of each medium. And like pretty much everything else, there's an opportunity for Twitter and blogs to get you tons of backlinks. So even if no one reads you, there's still a reason to do Twitter and blogs because they can help you get backlinks and backlinks that you can control. So Twitter, we'll start there. Twitter was founded in March 2006, so not all that long ago, but it was launched publicly in July 2006. It's a social networking and, as I said, microblogging service that allows users to post latest updates. An update is limited by 140 characters and can be posted through 3 methods: a web form, a text message, or an instant message. And you can shorten your URL through various websites like tinyurl, SUPR, etc., etc. And I think I pulled up tinyurl, so let's just have a look there. No, I didn't, but we can do that right now. So let's say I go to .com, and let's pretend I went to my website and I've gone into a deeper portion of my website. So I have a nice long URL here. So I'm going to copy that and go over here, tiny URL. I can paste it in here, enter a long URL to make it tiny. So I will paste it in here and it will turn it into a tiny URL. So now I have a tiny URL right here that I can use in Twitter, and it'll be shorter than my much longer one up here, and therefore will use up fewer of the characters in Twitter. So that's a really good, handy feature to have. And there's a number of different websites, and we'll go over a couple of them a little bit later as well, too. Okay. Just make sure we didn't skip it there. Okay, so what is Twitter's value? From a business and a marketing perspective, Twitter helps you develop and promote your brand and your message. It helps you interact with your customers and those prospects, those potential customers. You can also track what people are saying. There's a little Twitter feed coming into the screen right now that I'm tracking on social media. So we'll get back to that later, but funny, up exactly when I talked about what people are saying about your company. You can develop direct relationships with bloggers, journalists, and industry leaders, and these are the people who can then publish about you and share information about you and reblog about you and retweet about you and maybe write an article in a mainstream newspaper or a mainstream journal about you. So it's really important to be looking to use Twitter to connect with bloggers and journalists and other industry leaders. It can be a pure lead generation tool, and we'll cover that off a little bit more in a short while. And it's a great customer service and PR tool. And it can be great for customer service because if you're following your company name or you're following your own name and someone has something negative to say about you on Twitter, if you're watching those posts as they come up, you don't have to watch them all day long, but you just have to create a feed for them, and I'll show you that later, then you have an opportunity to get on top of that and fix that before it grows into something bigger. So therefore, between the customer service benefits of Twitter and liaising with journalists and industry leaders and bloggers, Twitter also becomes a public relations tool as well. And sometimes nowadays the people in public relations, they go online and they say, I'm looking for someone who knows this. And whoever got to them first are the people that they quote in the articles that are writing. So it can be quite a way to stay on top of things from that perspective. Okay. So we like to call Twitter an inbound marketing tool in that it's not outbound like advertising or billboards or radio and things like that, but Twitter can definitely attract an audience to your organization by connecting the buyer and the seller. So you are the seller or the organization offering something, and as the buyer is out there looking or the user of your service is looking, they can become more aware of your product and your service offering. So what you basically get are followers, and another term for those in a more traditional sense would be called prospects. And a prospect then becomes someone that has given the okay to communicate directly with them. Of course, over the long term, you have to provide a reason for them to follow you. Your brands and products must be up to par, so to speak. And if your brands or products are not up to par, then the followers can bite you or criticize you or critique you, and it can be a negative thing. So just like a regular prospect in a regular environment, it's important to make sure that you're ready to have followers or prospects. And the people you follow would be considered targets. So really it is a traditional marketing look at things, but just Twitter is a different medium to use. What Twitter can do is really help you drive people into your website. So if this is your website and the top of your funnel can then convert them into leads and then into customers. So if you're talking on Twitter saying what you're doing in 140 characters or less, or you're seeing other people talking about your space, you can take both of those people, start to follow them, have them start to follow you, have all these people who are now following you, and they go into your funnel, and then it's your job as they go through the funnel, convert them into others. It can help you move people through the funnel by building trust, by write about, by things you offer, the contests or the activity that you run. So building trust that helps you move through and improve your conversions from leads, which are interests. So how do we Twitter? So I'm going to actually do it's a great website. Check the audio. Health Connections session number 7 on social media and advanced internet marketing. There we go. And today what we're going to be looking at is Twitter and blogs. And I love that little cute Twitter bird. He's really a lot of fun. So when you're sending out messages to the world via Twitter and blogs, the interesting thing is that a blog is a place where you can put a lot of information, but Twitter is actually considered a microblog. So where you might be able to write, 500 words. And what will both of these do, and what will they help you accomplish for your company, your organization, or for yourself personally? They'll help you create new, valuable content and keep your audience interested. They'll see that you're paying attention to that space of the market, and you're giving them value, and you keep coming back with more and more. And that will ensure that you're a recognized authority in your field or your specialty. It'll help, of course, improve your brand awareness and reputation. And also because Twitter and blogs reach different audiences. So for instance, you might have one audience for your newsletters, you might have another one for your article marketing, your video marketing. Twitter and blogs are a way to actually kind of get people who might not actually know about you at all and get them to find you on the internet.
Twitter and blogs also help you communicate different messages to those different target audiences based upon the users of each medium. And like most else that we've been talking about, they help you get tons of backlinks. And I will show you how to do that in a little bit, how to get some backlinks and how to grow and control what messages are being backlinked to you and how to make that happen some more. So, Twitter background. Twitter was founded in March 2006 and launched publicly in July 2006. As I mentioned, it's a social networking and microblogging service that allows users to post their latest updates. So again, it's more frequent. People post actually sometimes many times per day, so you can follow someone in their whole life if you'd like to. An update on Twitter is limited by 140 characters and can be posted through 3 different methods, either their web form, if you go to www.twitter.com, or text message or instant message. You also will find that because you have that 140 character limit, that sometimes when you want to get those backlinks, you need to shorten your URL. So I will show you an example of that right now. Here, there's a site called tinyurl.com. Here it says making over 1 billion long URLs usable, serving billions of redirects each month. So I'm just going to go backwards for a second. I'll just go this way, tinyurl.com. So I'm going to go to my website here for a moment. And you can see here's my basic website. I'm in the blog section, and I'm actually under the market research area in an article talking about key opinion leaders. So if I copy that and go back to tinyurl, and here's where you enter a long URL that you want to make tiny. I'm going to paste that in there, that really long one, and it's going to make it tiny. So here you go. Here's my tiny URL, and now I can copy that and use that in Twitter, and it's using up, it went from 68 characters, the long one, which is right here. Now it has only 26 characters. So if I want to post something on Twitter and I want to use the tiny URL, I've only used up 26 characters out of my 140 characters. So it makes it much more efficient from that perspective. Okay, any questions about that? Nope. Okay, great. So let's look at Twitter's value. From a business and a marketing perspective, Twitter helps you develop and promote your brand and your message. It helps you interact with your customers and prospects, so people who are following you or who may be people who you want to follow. Twitter helps you track what people are saying about your company, so you can set up a feed so you can see what people are saying about your company, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. And that way, if people say something good, you can save that as a testimonial, and if they say something that's not so good, you can get on it right away and try to fix it and rectify it by communicating back with the person on a private basis. You can develop direct relationships with bloggers, journalists, and industry leaders, and this is really important because we find that a lot of journalists nowadays will go onto Twitter and say, hey, I'm looking for a company who does X, and whoever answers them first, that's the company who winds up getting quoted in their article and gets all the free press that everyone is looking for. So it's a really great way if you're following Twitter or you're on Twitter and you're following some of the journalists who cover your categories, that you can see what they're interested in learning about. It's also a pure lead generation tool because as people find you on Twitter, they then can be directed to your website or directed to an article or a blog post on your website. So it's a really great way to build great customer service tool because if people are saying something good or bad about you, you can track that and get on top of it quickly. And if you've got those links with journalism, okay. So Twitter is fundamentally an inbound marketing tool. You can use Twitter to attract an audience to your organization and therefore connect them offering something out to the marketplace. So if we look at traditional marketing terminology, follower is really a prospect in traditional marketing terms. Communicate directly with them. So of course, if you provide a reason for the aren't, the followers can then bite you or criticize you or critique you or give you negative feedback to show that you're ready to communicate directly, and then go out and get your followers. Ooh, this is just a Twitter feed up there. And you have targets, and the same thing helps. So Twitter can help you drive people into your website where your funnel can convert them to leads and then to customers. So if you're writing 140 characters about what's going on and you're looking at the other people that are writing in that same category or that are following you or you're following them, so here's your following, then as you can see that information, you can communicate with those people directly or in totality and get them to come to your website by linking them with a tiny URL or one of the other ways to shorten your URL. Then it's your job to move them down your funnel and make them into purchasers. But along that move down the funnel, Twitter can help you move people by building and that will help in your conversion rate as you move people from leads and into customers and into people who actually use your service, whether they pay for it or not. As they feel more comfortable with your service, then they're more likely to use you and participate in what you have to offer. So how do you Twitter? So I'm going to go to a great site that has a really nice summary about that. So there's a site called, I guess it's Tweens. It's just, so you can get there at www.twiends.com. And in this section over here called Guide, it tells you how to Twitter. So fundamentally, Twitter was created to answer one simple question. What are you doing? So you start on Twitter by creating a Twitter account. All you need is a username, an email address, and a password. When you pick your username, it should be a maximum of 15 characters, letters, numbers, and underscore. Most people don't use underscore, but a lot of people use letters, of course. And really it should be something about either yourself, your real name for your business, or your real name for your brand, or your real name for yourself, or an alter ego or pseudonym. So here like Rusty Rockets versus Stephanie Fry, or Stephen Fry, sorry. So those are the two things to think about when you're creating your username. You can add an avatar or a photo or a cartoon or a logo or a brand. Your picture it has certain size limitations, which are listed here, and you should put a little short biography onto your Twitter profile as well. If you do those two things, if you put some sort of picture or avatar or photo and your bio, you'll get 10 times more followers when you add a picture, and you get 8 times more followers when you add a biography. Because now people can relate to you, they see that you care about being on Twitter, and so that they care about following you as well. Then next what you do is you follow some tweets, and a tweet is a person who tweets. You type their username in the search box if you know someone already, or you go and try to find some people. You'll find lots of your friends and followers that you can possibly go after. So as I said, a tweet is people that follow each other from one social network to another. A tweet is a post on Twitter, and tweeting is the act of posting once a week. So once you start tweeting, tell people what you're doing. You can do it any time of day or night. You can send messages from the web, your desktop, or from your phone. We already went over how to compact your URL. A couple other sites to do that would be bit.ly or tiny.cc or goo.gl. So lots of places you can use to shorten your, and Twitter has actually come out with a service that if you don't shorten your URL, they have a way to automatically do it for you. So next is to get some followers. Unless you have more than thousands and thousands of friends, the idea is that you have to go to all sorts of places to look and find people that can follow you. So and we'll get to that a little bit later. So why should you use Twitter? From personal messaging chats, you can use the messaging. You can make your tweets interesting and entertaining. You can add pictures and photos nowadays. You can respond to other people's tweets. You can ask a question. You can answer a question. You can retweet what someone else has done to send it to your network. You can set up your profile picture, which we talked about. You can put in your website and your branding. You can add inventive hashtags. So this is a way to categorize things, hashtags is, and we'll get back to that later again. You should have a balance of good personal, informative tweets as well as some fun tweets. You should always be looking to add value to your followers. You can promote recent posts that you've put up, your blogs, your own work that you're doing. And you can look at auto tweets, and you should turn auto tweets and bots off because you don't want people to think that you're spamming them. A follower is a person following you. A friend is a person that you are following. And just, by default, everything you tweet is publicly visible. So be careful not to say something you don't want the whole world to know about. To become an advanced tweeter, you kind of need to learn the terms and kind of just dive into it. There's different things you can do. You can do a direct message. It's a private tweet that appears in your Twitter inbox, and you can only direct message a person that's following you. And this kind of tells you how to do it. There's also a hashtag, which we mentioned above. A hashtag can be added to your tweet, making it easier to search for and increases the chance your tweet will become a trending topic. So let's say you were holding a conference and you wanted people to talk about that conference. The idea would be to create a hashtag so people could find all the tweets about that conference afterwards quite easily. It allows you to share the best links and tweets you found with your followers, so they see that you're not just promoting your own information, but promoting everybody's information. You can also create lists. And lists, and we'll get back to that again later too, allow you to organize people into interest groups. So let's say you live in a particular city. You can create a list for your city. If you work for a particular company, you can create a list for your company. If you work in a particular portion of the industry, so let's say you're a physician or you're a nurse, or you deal with infants or teenagers or people with diabetes, you could create all sorts of different lists so that you have particular interest groups. You can also look up other people's lists and start to follow them based upon whether they're a celebrity, they're looking at breaking news, at travel, etc. There's also, of course, blocking features if you don't want people to follow you, and there's a way to protect your tweets so that they're private versus public. So that, I thought, was a really great way to give a quick overview of how to get yourself involved in Twitter. If we just go here to my Twitter, and you can see that the words here tend to be shortened. So this is should pharma use social media. And then I've retweeted somebody else's link. And then I say here, in the Americas, the need is becoming pressing. Identify the business issues with us, and then I put a link to our website. So again, it's shorter, it's more quick, and gets your message out there. And you can see I've also started following Brian Tracy, and he's doing something that looks like every 2 to 3 hours, which probably tells me that someone else or people are doing and how they're moving through Twitter as a system, so to speak. So let's talk about managing Twitter. Or any questions about that so far before we move on to managing Twitter? Nope. No? Okay. So in managing Twitter, some people feel like it's unmanageable, and they're wondering how do you organize it to make sense of it. There's a ton of information out there, and it's sometimes hard to filter it to the valuable information. So that's why things like hashtags and lists come in really handy. So lists, in that case, help you narrow down the content in Twitter. And in your list, you name them and you control them. And then in other people's lists, you can choose to follow them. So here's kind of the rules is you put at your username and then your list name, and you create them, and then other people follow them. But there's also ways to find lists of people that you can kind of go to the list subject first and then decide who underneath it to follow, et cetera, et cetera. So Twitter lists help increase your reach by followers who are getting your content via your list. So someone who might just be interested in your subject matter in your list, maybe they don't know you, but they would sign up and join your list, and that way they become one of your followers. The idea would be to become the source of information about your industry and aggregate all of the best information about your area through your Twitter list. So you might also want to look at creating a list for yourself that's just for bloggers and reporters that might be interested in your content. And that way you can help target them more specifically. So you could send out one tweet in the morning to people that would be focused on bloggers and reporters, and then maybe another group to people who are previous patients at your facility. So that would be, you know, two different types or people, previous users of your list, really allow you to provide a more personalized feel about your organization and kind of send out information that's relevant to each particular target group. So how would you get started with lists? Well, easiest first is to kind of start following other people's lists, see what you like, and identify what you want to do. Some good suggestions from a general perspective would be there's a list on small business trends, there's a list for people following the New York Times, people following Mashable. For you need to make sure that the list that you create is a public list, so you get the other benefits like other people seeing it. And what you do is you go to your followers page, you go to twitter.com following, and you pull down the list-like icon, select which list to apply to each person so that you create the list first, and then you decide, you know, you say, okay, I want Mary to be part of my PR list, and I want Mary to be part of my users list. And you can assign people to multiple lists. And then the idea is to promote your list. And one other place to promote your list is a website called Listorious. And I'm just going to scoot over there for a second. So right here. So Listorious is a place where you basically sign up, and then it links your tweets to this more global website called Listorious. And what you can see here is that then you can go and find different lists that you might be interested in. Maybe I'm interested in children. So I would find lists that are all about children, and I would start to join some of those lists. And then hopefully as I start to join those lists and people start to follow me, or I start to follow them, then people will start to follow me. Another way to look at it is they have a top 140, so the top 140 lists on Twitter, the top 140 most listed people, the oldest accounts, the most followed people, et cetera, et cetera. And what you can see is that Listorious has now pulled in my logo and my name, so this will help me drive traffic back to, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of a way to social bookmark your Twitter account so that you can spread things and get, you know, more people following you and you following more people. And of course, as always, monitor the list you are on to see which ones are giving you good information and which ones maybe have degraded into just not useful things to be looking at. So moving on to some Twitter tips and tricks. So above all, the first point is to keep it personal and keep it relevant. Although some things like, let's say, for example, CNN breaking news have been very successful, corporate Twitter accounts need to be handled carefully. Twitter is really about person-to-person communication and not kind of a broadcast tool for faceless corporations. So you need to kind of find a way to make it real, and to use it in that way is really important. So it's not that when you think about how to keep it personal and relevant, it's important, again, to think about the name that you're going to be using, your username. And it's not that the name matters so much as the tone of the posts. Tweets should be more than an endless string of kind of press releases and links. They should include like personal content and a dialogue with your followers. And this is really important because it enables you to make a connection with your followers. And an open and honest relationship with followers is very powerful. It helps you build trust, loyalty, and engagement, and it encourages repeat traffic and word-of-mouth recommendation. The other thing is to learn from other people. You can learn a lot about Twitter just by reading the tweets of other people. For example, maybe some people inject a lot of humor into their posts, and then their followers really respond to that. On the other hand, maybe some people have a good balance between recommending content others have written and promoting their own content. So it's really important to kind of look at that balance. In addition to examining the styles of other people, you could also examine statistics. You could use a tool like TweetStat, which I listed there, to examine how often others tweet and how often they reply to their followers. All of this helps to build a picture of what makes a successful tweeter. So if you're thinking of following someone that you want to learn from, you can go to TweetStats and figure out, how often either you're tweeting or how often they're tweeting, and see kind of a picture of where things are going across the internet. There's also a growing number of great websites that give advice on how to get the most out of Twitter. One of them is called TweetTip, which covers such kind of subjects such as the merit of Twitter competitions and how to get unfollowed on Twitter and various things like that. So lots of opportunities to learn from other people. You also need to get a good desktop client organizer. And without a doubt, the most powerful Twitter client organizer currently available is called TweetDeck. TweetDeck runs on Windows, Mac computers, Linux, but also provides some really great tools for managing your life on Twitter. So let me just show you that real quick. TweetDeck. So here's TweetDeck sitting over here. And what I've done on TweetDeck is, well, first of all, let's look at a couple things. So what I've done is I've linked my comments. So basically, I can go right here and put in a Twitter post into the What Happening section. But I've linked it to, it's coming from Twitter. I've linked it as well to Facebook. And I've linked it to LinkedIn, and I've linked it to MySpace. So I just have to switch this to say, yes, I want to automatically post. Right now it's on no, but I want to automatically post to Facebook. I want it, and I think I've just switched it to yes, yeah, and I want to automatically post to MySpace. So I can put a post right in here, and why don't I just refresh this to see if it's updated in the last while. But what I've also done is I've created these columns, and these columns are really easy to do. And I'm looking for any new blog posts in the pharma area. I'm looking for any new blog posts in the education area. I'm looking for any new blog posts in the government area, in health, and then I've gone on and on to look at many others. But I'm also tracking, see if I can move over here. I'm tracking my friends, whoever I'm connected with on Twitter. I'm looking for blog posts in social media over here. Kind of slowly. I'm also looking for any mentions about learning more about your customers. I'm looking about getting the posts from people who have recently started to follow me, and blog posts around hospitals, et cetera, et cetera. So I could cut this down a lot, or I could allow all of this to keep going, and whenever I want to see, is there something I'm interested in tweeting on or retweeting, I just kind of look under, let's say, hospitals. Here it's a new blog up all about police hospital watches, interesting to improve by, and then this person has a link. So I would go to that link, see if I like what they posted, and then I would repost it to my group and push it out from that perspective. If I want to add another thing that I want to search on, it's right up here. I can add a new column up to the upper left, this plus sign. And let's say I want to health government is what I want to follow. So that will be added to the right over here. Should come up shortly. And any posts that start to show up in this area. So there we go. So working for the government doesn't mean you're doing public health. It should be about outcomes, et cetera, et cetera. So again, let's say I like this person's link or I like what they're talking about, then I can retweet about it up here and decide to send it to Twitter, to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to MySpace, and any other accounts that I want to add up from that perspective. So this is a great way to sort and see what's happening out there by various topics that are occurring on the Internet. Okay, so we were right here on TweetDeck. So with TweetDeck, as I kind of shown you real quick there, you can create groups, you can filter your tweets, you can monitor certain subjects as well as post tweets. You can use it to reply, and you can do retweets off from that big black box at the top. In fact, it's kind of so powerful that it can be somewhat intimidating at first, but don't let that put you off. They have lots of good tutorials on how to use TweetDeck's features, and so it's really very handy from that perspective. A lot of people keep it open all the time, and then just that's what you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, your stuff popping up as to what's some new tweets that have been listed in your categories that you're following. You can also use Twitter on the road. If your Twitter account is going to be personal as well as professional, then you'll probably most certainly want to you. One of the ones used interface, and yet it's packed with powerful features, including the ability to handle multiple Twitter accounts, view Twitter trends and perform custom searches, access complete user profiles, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just one hint from that perspective. Tracking the results, tweet stats is just, as I mentioned before, is just the tip of this kind of the statistical iceberg. There's an ever-growing number of tools you can use to track your activity on Twitter. However, the ones that really are the most interesting are the ones that track click-throughs. You really want to know if you post a link on Twitter, how many people click through it. So some of the like tweet stats and TweetDeck, some of those features are available on some of those as well. You also want to know who's following, who you should follow, and you want to get more followed. I showed you this website before, Tweens. I'm not even sure.
I don't think so.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. But what I didn't show you was over in this section here. Let's say I'm interested in music. I can look. Lady Gaga has over 11 million followers. Justin Bieber, again, over 11 million. Britney Spears, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. Some of the top ones. I think there's Health right there. Yep, there we go. Or Popular, D, Mayo, what's going on. And the numbers are not nearly as big here, just over a million versus some of the other interests. From a follower's perspective, add your Twitter automatically. I got mine. And if you want to get new people to follow you, this is a great way to kind of get at least some more people to feed, which is kind of like coins. I'm not signed in right now, but you kind of give people credits, or they are interactive and find out what's happening in the audience. Here again. Okay. Whenever possible, you should try to integrate. So if you intend to use Twitter for anything other than personal use, you really should incorporate it with the rest of your website strategy. That means it needs to be linked to your other online activity, like I showed you on TweetDeck, like your LinkedIn, your Facebook, everything else that you're doing. And there's actually, it's very easy when you use something like TweetDeck to do that from that perspective. And I guess the last key point is not to overthink it too much. Of course, the problem with all these tools, statistics, and analysis, is that they can get kind of take away your spontaneity and personality from your tweets. But you also need to watch the other side in that, if you are kind of, in a bad mood, that you don't tell everybody that you're in a bad mood, and that you kind of make sure it's a balanced approach to what you're putting out there over the Internet. So those are just a bunch of tips and tricks from that perspective. So what to tweet about? One of the things to look at would be something that you observe. So maybe tweet about what you're doing, what you're thinking, or what you're feeling. You might want to tweet about what you're reading. So post a link to an interesting blog post or a news article that you've been looking at. You might tweet about what you're watching. Post a link to a cool video from Hulu or from YouTube. What events you're going to. Share a link to the next conference you plan to attend. Promote your content. Post a link to your most recent company or personal blog article. Promote someone else's content. Post a link to someone else's blog article as a helpful resource. Chat with someone. Send them a message using the @ sign, and that way it goes directly to them. retweet what someone else has said. So retweet using RT or retweet in the beginning of the message to repeat what someone else has said. Or you can retweet, but you can edit somebody else's retweet. You can edit someone else's tweet, and it comes out as a new tweet from you. Finding other people to follow. Okay, so one of the places to go would be search.twitter.com. This is basically a free resource. It's a search function that helps you find people who are tweeting about specific words. For example, you can find people who have tweeted about public relations, follow people talking about the topics you enjoy. Also use Twitter search to see who has tweeted about your company. I think I might have pulled this one up too. Let me just see. Here. So I did a search here in Twitter for hospital social media. And so I'm looking for people who are talking about the hospital market and social media, and I might want to either, reply to this, I might want to retweet it, I might want to consider it my favorite, etc. Go right to Twitter and decide to follow someone in particular, and then learn from them. Okay. You can follow people that your followers are following. So once you begin receiving updates from a handful of people, watch to see who those people chat with using an @reply, and maybe that person would be fun to follow as well. You could see if any of your favorite bloggers are on Twitter or thought leaders, and many bloggers include a link to their Twitter account in their sidebar or personal information section on their website, so another way to find people to follow. You can collect people's Twitter names at events. Many social media savvy people will include their Twitter handle on their name tag at an event or on their business card. So write down their names and follow them later. You can use their Twitter account by adding their handle to the end of, so basically go to twitter.com and then put their username in. So that's a quick way to find them. We talked a little bit about hashtags before. At many events, the organizer will establish a hashtag, so anyone tweeting at the event can include the hashtag in their tweet. And then you can follow those people who are at the same event as you, who you may not have met in person yet, to find out what they're talking about. And then I showed you tweens before, which again you can follow people in music, or you can follow people in health, or all different categories from that perspective, or organizations as well. Getting people to follow you. I thought this was really cool. There's now stockings and socks that you can buy that basically say "follow me." But above and beyond wearing a recommendation to follow you, you can make your company's Twitter username easy to find. Create a page that lists all the Twitter handles of the people in your company by giving your customers an easy way to interact with individual people. It helps them get to know the type of people who work at your company, and it also gives insight into your brand. Make your tweets useful resources so people need you. You are what you tweet. People will want to follow you if they think they will get value from your content. So you want to avoid making your Twitter account purely a promotional tool. So kind of ask yourself the question, would you subscribe to a newsletter if it didn't have anything useful to say? And thinking about it from the other side, what specialty knowledge do you have that you can share? Of course, interact with other people. Interact with those people you follow who don't follow you back yet. So make sure to monitor your Twitter stream and comment on what people are saying. Give feedback, compliment people. The key is kind of to engage. I already showed you where you can increase your Twitter followers through this website. There's also this great article called 60+ ways to increase your Twitter followers. Rather than going through it all, I just sent you a link to it so you can have a look. It's really quite good from that perspective. What else is here? Okay. How to use Twitter for marketing efforts. Well, first of all, you want to drive people to your website. Sorry, just got lost here for a second. Got to get to my notes. Interesting resources your employees have posted on your blog or website. For instance, have you recently published a white paper that people can download for free? You can then tweet about it, link back to the download page on your website. If the content on your site is truly remarkable, people may start tweeting about it on their own, and then they can share your resource to their own friends on Twitter as well. You'll want to monitor your brand on Twitter, and you've seen a couple ways to do that. You can use search.twitter.com, track in your industry reader, and that way you get favorite side of each tweet gets added or searched on to your company. Your usernames, mine would be DonnaVanDam/favorites, and I haven't put any up there yet. I haven't started to do it, but it's a really cool way for loss. Also, you tweet them, so you could suggest that maybe your Twitter community get together, or the next time your company holds an event, fundraiser, or open house, you can tweet about it. And kind of a best practice in this area is to send people directly to an event sign-up page. so again, to make it more efficient for them. And as I mentioned before, you might want to think of a hashtag for your event before you start tweeting about it, and that will really help people continue to talk about it afterwards. You can use Twitter to promote new tools that you might be offering. So Twitter users love new toys, especially if they create some sort of outcome or give them a grade or analysis of the person using the tool. Make the results of your tool or your grader as easy to tweet as possible. Perhaps you could add a tweet this grade function. Make sure your tool is as easy to share as possible too. And then, of course, last but not least, establish yourself as a thought leader in your industry by tweeting about useful resources and thoughtful tips. You and your company will eventually develop thought leadership, and people will certainly consider you an expert in that particular subject. And key is to be sure to link to your own resources as well as to others. So again, it's that balanced approach that we're looking for. So we looked at this in a previous session, but again, two other places to look for hot topics would be Yahoo Answers and Google Trends to see what people are talking about in other spheres, and then bring those into the Twitter realm as well, too. So just before I move on, any questions about using Twitter for marketing or things like that? Nope. Nope? Okay, great. So kind of doing a bridge between Twitter and blogging. Both of those, again, great idea is to look at your keywords and make sure your keywords are optimized. Make sure you pick a theme, and then go ahead and write your blog or your tweet. Tweets are a little bit less keyword dependent, but if you can make them relevant. Okay, here's again my, can you see my tweet deck come up where it's telling me in Friends I have 64 new posts. In Health Government there's 101 new posts, things like that. Can you see that on the screen? I don't know if it got there or not, but yeah, there's a, okay, great. So we've talked about this a million times, but just to reinforce it again, keywords for blogs. Again, a blog is like a page on a website, so you need to make sure, and we'll go through this later, that your blog has a headline where your keywords are placed, that the description has your keywords, and all the tag fields have your keywords. And the main content management systems that people use today to create their blogs, they actually have search engine optimization packages embedded right in them. So it makes it really, really easy for you to add a blog to your website and to optimize it from a search engine perspective. And I'll show you the example on my website in just a little bit. So here's how to blog and all you need to know. So what you should do first is put out a well-written blog. That helps you gain credibility and traffic to your site. It helps you expand your reach, particularly as you're competing with others' content. And again, just to make sure you're focused on your keywords. So way more important in blogs are your keywords than Twitter. And as I said, it's really easy to do nowadays. There's numerous plug-and-play software options, or as I said, CMS or content management systems. The most popular one is probably WordPress, which I'll be taking you through. There's also another one that's very popular called Joomla, and one called Drupal that's becoming even more popular. But just to totally intimidate you, I guess, here's a list of all the different content management systems that can be used for blogging or used for content management in general. But really, I'd say focus on WordPress as your first step out of the gate. Fundamentally, all these are software systems used for the management of content, including computer files, image media, audio files, electronic documents, and web content. All of these are free, and if you want to go beyond these, usually you're going to be paying about $15,000 or more. But the really lovely part is things like WordPress are free, and people are constantly developing upgrades for it and little add-ons and what are called widgets and things like that that make your life very easy and make you, when you're thinking about enhancements to your website, it becomes a no-brainer because anyone can learn WordPress from that perspective. A couple other reasons why to look at WordPress. Well, Google loves WordPress, and Google likes the people who have blogs with WordPress because it makes your site more search engine friendly. As I said, it already has a search engine optimization program in it, so it really helps work well with Google. Some of the other ones don't work nearly as well on Google as WordPress does, and some of the other systems are a little bit more difficult to work with and have a little less flexibility. So in the end, WordPress is easy to use and allows you to upload content quickly, easily, and often. It's fundamentally just like using your word processing function in Microsoft Word. So it really can be quite easy for anyone to use. And as I said, there's lots of plugins creating lots of flexibility, giving you permanent links, and those little CAPTCHA things where you might want to make sure that someone's validated and allowed to come onto your website. So there's tons and tons of what are called plugins and widgets. So how do we load WordPress onto our website? Well, the key is making sure you put it at the right place in your website. It's basically a piece of software that's going to do all the work for you to create your blog. And what you do is you just ask your hosting company to add in WordPress. And the key, though, is to make sure you have your basic website here, and then as a subdirectory to your basic website, you add in your blog. Never add your blog on top of your website name, because fundamentally then it will erase your website. If you don't have a website already, then you can consider WordPress to be your main website, because WordPress actually has 2 levels of functionality, one to create pages and the other to create posts. So your blog should be WordPress, and then it kind of makes your life a whole lot easier from that perspective. Just a couple other details in that when you're choosing a hosting company, or you're looking at what hosting company that you have your website hosted on, it needs to use a cPanel. A cPanel is just like a control panel. It really has a whole bunch of functionality, but if you don't have a cPanel, if you ever want to move your website to another hosting company, it makes it more difficult. There's something called Fantastico Deluxe that you use to install WordPress onto your website, but a lot of hosting companies, so for instance, I use HostGator. HostGator will actually install WordPress on with the click of a button, so it's extremely easy. It's, again, kind of like opening another file and then it's added on. And if you have any problems with adding WordPress onto your website with your hosting company, a lot of the hosting companies, again, will also load it on for you. So you don't have to be a technical wizard to add WordPress onto your website. And just to reinforce again, if you have an existing website, create a subdirectory called blog and add WordPress as a piece of software under the name of the subdirectory called blog. So thinking about what I mentioned a moment ago, the difference between a blog post and a page. So a blog post is often some how-to or some other information, whereas a page is often who we are, how to contact us, here's our services, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't have to use pages and posts that way, and I'm going to show you in a moment how I've used pages and posts on my website. Okay, so if I'm going to go back first to my main website. Okay, so here's my main website, and this was created a long time ago. So it actually is either HTML code. These are all my different tabs. I'm almost adding another tab, so it's not working in the last couple days, so I will just take you there directly by just typing in blog. It's similar but somewhat different. Market research. I put a page called Key Opinion Leaders, and I've treated this as a page. And I'm just going to put you on hold for 1 second. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. My one phone was dying, so I had to go get another phone. So I'll be back in 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so on this page of my website, at the bottom of the article, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, so there's a link here related to this article. It's coming up. The first thing is right here, and on this to the page, and wants to get to the blog post where they can add in comments down here, or if someone wants to start with the article, and either way, either start with the blog and get back to the article, or vice versa. You see a running list of the comments that have been put in, the articles under each different category, and then you have an archive and a search function. For a minute into the administrative function just to show you how easy. dashboard, and you can see I have 9 posts, I have 9 pages, I have 5 categories, I have 16 comments that are showing and 16 comments that were approved. Over here is all the information on this side on how I add a post. Over here I can add in media, get current pages, add new pages. And then here I can change the appearance of my blog and what it looks like, the colors, the fonts. And here's things I talked about, plugins. I can add new users, some tools, and some general settings. Let's just look real quick at posts. So let's say I wanted to go to, here's all my posts. See that it talks, this is the title of it. So remember, from an SEO perspective, it has to have a title. Here's the, I'm the author. I put it in the category called Healthcare Consulting. I published it on this date here. Here's my SEO title, and then I put in my keywords, and then I have a description. So all those things that you do in search engine optimization, the title, the keywords, and the description are all included in the article. So let's say I wanted to edit it, just like a Word document. And here's everything I've typed in for this blog post. So I can just type in anything I want to change it, or I can delete that. And just like Word, it has all those features of bolding, italics, changing the colors of the font, all that. On the right-hand side under. And this is what's called my all-in-one SEO pack. So as long as I fill in all this information, my title, my description, and my keywords, all my search engine optimization is automatically done for me, and I don't even have to think about it. So it really is quite easy to use, and anyone who, like I usually, what I do is I take the content and I create it separately in a Word document, and then I just start bringing it over, and that way it's very quick. I don't start from scratch here. I start from scratch somewhere else and bring it in. So it makes it really nice and easy to get things organized very quickly. So as a really quick overview of WordPress, any questions from that perspective?
Nope.
Okay, so we're just going to get out of this piece here. Okay. So this is all done quite easily by someone who just knows how to use Word and how to input pictures and things like that. It really is quite a nice way to create a website from scratch, or to create your blog from scratch and then link it back. So if I want to go back to my original website, the main website, I just click on here, and it takes me back to my original website, and I'm no longer in the blog area where the posts are and things like that. Okay. So we talked about widgets just briefly, but widgets are already are already pre-programmed in the columns. I had all mine on the left-hand side. You can put all these widgets on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of your blog post. There was a search feature all the way at the bottom left-hand corner that you probably saw. There were recent posts. There was my categories. There was links. You can also add a Google Calendar. I haven't done that yet, but if you're into putting up a lot of events, you can put a Google Calendar, and that way your Google Calendar can bring people right to a registration page and things like that. You can also search Google. There's some WordPress widgets to do that, to find other options. Like you can search Google to find other WordPress widgets and that do other things that you might want to do to your website. And the key to adding a widget is basically put it on your WordPress blog, try it out in kind of like a trial mode. If you like what it does, then keep it. If you don't like what it does, then you just uninstall it. It's really, really that easy from that perspective. Once you have your post, you want to share your post. I showed you before how we can do that on Twitter, but I think I've shown you in the past. Let me just see, LinkedIn. I thought I had LinkedIn up here. Yeah, here it is. On my LinkedIn account, I'm actually down here in the right-hand corner. You can see the WordPress logo. I'm bringing in to my LinkedIn account all of my blog posts. So I have one here that you just saw in product adoption process. So brought in my tweets into my LinkedIn account as well. So everything is kind of being cross-fertilized across the spectrum from that perspective. Facebook is another place where you can share your posts. And then Dig is another website which is particularly good for blog posts because that's what everyone puts here. It's kind of like a news site. And so I put here 2 of my blog posts, and that will again help me get people following me, help me get more links, backlinks, and things like that, and news that appears on Dig as well, etc. So there's more SEO optimization and more backlinks. Okay. So, marketing your blog. One of the most important things is figuring out how to get people to know about your blog and find it and find you out there on the internet. So, some of the things to think about is, I guess, an offline strategy, which would be to get out of your office. Get out of your office and meet people. This is a great way to tell people about your blog and explain what it's all about. It's also a wonderful opportunity to meet other bloggers and find ways to work together and network and things like that. Oops, I went a little bit too far here. You can, again, put your blog on your business card or in your email signature and things like that, and that really helps push your message out there quite a bit. There's also a bunch of blogger events and conferences, many of which are open for everyone to attend. Like for instance, there's a blogger conference called Healthy Living Summit. So if you're interested in healthy living, and you can just kind of sign up for their event newsletters to stay in the loop about their upcoming events, and go from that perspective. Participate in the blog community. The blog world kind of thrives on community, so be sure to participate in any way that you can. You could link to blogs and posts that you like, comment on blogs, host and participate in contests and giveaways, make friends on Twitter, offer to donate or something for an online auction, attend or host your own blog or meetup in your area, contribute a guest post on another blog. All these things kind of help you make connections and spread the word to the world about you and your blog. You could reach out to your favorite brands. So let's say you were in the cooking area. You could reach out to your favorite brands and offer to write a guest post or submit a recipe to your favorite brand's website or blog. So reaching out is a great way to build relationships and get new readers to your site by linking back to it. Kind of think outside of your community as well. When thinking about guest posting, look outside of your usual blog community to find new audiences. A lot of traffic can come from kind of health communities or health-interested people rather than from health practitioners. Maybe even expand to the fitness and running communities depending upon your focus in health. Maybe expand to mothers and babies or a teenager's website if you're after teenagers, or a particular, the bigger bloggers tend to get busy, so a lot of the time they're kind of looking for content to feature on their blogs, and it kind of takes you just as long to write a guest post as it does a regular post on your own blog, so it really doesn't take any more time or effort for you to do it for someone else, and if they're a more popular website than you're going to get a whole bunch of backlinks. And in the end, the other blogger gets content for their site, and you gain some new readers, so kind of it's a win-win for everyone from that perspective. You can register your blog with blog directories, and it's an easy way for people to discover your blog. So there's things like Blog Catalog, Healthy Living Blogs, BlogWise, Technorati, so there's lots of different blog directories that you can sign up with. You can also create an offline presence. It's funny because some bloggers now are actually starting to develop T-shirts and other things. Again, particularly if you have a health focus, maybe you want to have people buy your T-shirt. You want to give away your T-shirts to create buzz for your blog. Maybe they can wear them while they're doing marathons or something else like that. Other people have given away stickers or pens or bags. So again, there's things you can do to raise awareness about your blog. Use, of course, the SEO practices that we've been talking about. Where you look at your title, your description. Those are really, really critical from that perspective. Post frequently. You don't have to post 2 to 3 times a day, but posting frequently keeps your loyal readers interested in coming back for more. Maybe in some cases 2 times a week is enough. Some people get into posting once a week. But generally the research shows that posting with at least once a week gets you enough frequency that people keep coming back and they're interested in what you have to say. Most people create a schedule to keep themselves kind of on track, but you should kind of plan your calendar and then stick to it. I mentioned leaving business cards, especially if you have a business card for your blog. You can also then stick your business cards, if it's applicable, on community bulletin boards, like at Starbucks and things like that. And you never know who might find it, and it's a quick and easy way to market your blog, et cetera, et cetera. You can create a Facebook fan page. You can, by creating a Facebook profile and posting a couple links to your wall, you can actually see quite a jump in your blog traffic. And if Facebook is particularly good if you have a consumer-oriented angle to what you're offering, then it's a great way to drive them back to your blog. Of course, kind of as we mentioned earlier, participating in Twitter chats where you create your Twitter account and then tweeting or retweeting. It's a great way to network and promote your blog using Twitter. You can connect with people of similar interests and help them discover your blog. It's a great way to find new blogs from other people to add to your kind of daily rotation where you're retweeting their stuff from that perspective. So there's so many ways to kind of market your blog. When you're blogging for your business, some of the things to think about would be don't forget to promote your blogs by communicating with other bloggers sharing similar interests. There's also things like viral plugins and widgets, and those you can kind of research as you get more into WordPress, but you can use all the possible strategies from a technological perspective to get many, many users and kind of make your site more and more popular. More and more people are looking at things like contests and freebies, which help you widen your reader base. If you have attractive prizes and freebies, can help make your site more popular. And then, of course, if you create profiles and let your readers know more about you and your products and your blogs through social networking, then there's a huge opportunity to grow the network. And of course, again, I'll just reemphasize SEO optimization. Your email signature, I think I mentioned this before, but using your email to promote links back to your blog. What I do when I send out my newsletter is I put a link to my blog in my newsletter, hoping that some people will go back to write something on the blog. And if not, even in my regular signature, you can also include a link to your blog if people want to find it and comment on it from that perspective, even if you're not doing a newsletter at that point in time. So any questions about blogging and all the different ways that you can make that successful for you? No? Okay. So summarizing tweeting and blogging. Again, you need to develop a publication plan. What will you tweet and what will you blog about? Where will it link to? With what keywords? What's your frequency of tweeting and blogging versus other communications? So some great homework would be to create a Twitter account, post one tweet, and set up a tweet deck. Choose your blog CMS, post one blog, and identify kind of a publication plan. So the summary would be, Twitter can get you new customers and spread your message about actions and activities. Blogs create a conversation which is more in-depth, and it's the best way to have fresh, relevant content on a regular basis and update your website consistently. And both of these help your search engine optimization by helping you link everything back to your website and growing those backlinks, of course. And, of course, develop an editorial schedule, which is oh so important. So any additional questions or thoughts?
It's really great. It's a really good overview of both of the programs.
Excellent.
Well, all the programs associated with both of those social media tools.
Excellent. And I'm just trying to see if I'm still